y'all, what's up? Welcome back to another episode of Dear Women, I Got Y'all, which is a podcast about inspiring and elevating women through all walks of life. I'm your host, Jazmin Griffith, and today we're going to talk about something that I feel like is very important. It's something that I'm actually learning more and more as I get into my 30s and my older 20s. And it's important, especially during your healing journey. It's important in the relationships that you have with your friends. It's important in the relationships that you have with yourself, with your partner, and work. And it's the power of saying no. More specifically, it's setting boundaries for self-care. Do you ever feel like you're overwhelmed or you have anxiety? A lot of the times it's because there's this pressure in society where you always have to say yes to people. You have to be a people pleaser. And I am like that. Even though I'm a Leo, I feel like I always have to say yes to make people happy. I really struggle with saying no because I hate the feeling of guilt or I hate not making people feel unhappy. It's just not a good feeling. But at the end of the day, it's very draining. It's very draining because you're going to have moments where you want to say no, but because you don't want to disappoint that other person, it's like, okay, I'll say yes. And after a while, you're draining yourself. It's like you can't pour from an empty cup. Boundaries are important for the simple fact of it's a relationship that you want to have with yourself. And it's important to have those boundaries because at the end of the day, all you're going to do is kill yourself trying to please people. Let me tell you something about boundaries real quick. Boundaries are not for them. Boundaries are specifically for you. And let me tell you another thing about boundaries. It's nothing hard about setting boundaries. The problem is y'all don't know how to stand on y'all boundaries and y'all don't know how to stand on your shit because you start feeling guilty and you start having anxiety. Boundaries help you have better relationships with yourself and with your friends and with your family. And let me tell you something else. People will immediately feel triggered the moment that you tell them no. It is what it is. And then you start feeling all bad about it. I've struggled with this because I, for example, have always been the glue in my family. I've always been the middle glue for my friends. And even at work, I've been that go-to person. And so after a while, if I ever say no to them, they look at me in disgust, oh, you got better things to do. You don't got time for me. And then ultimately you're making me feel guilty about how I feel. And so then I just kind of give in. And then it ends up being draining because there is moments where I do want to say no and I can't because I don't want to disappoint who I have around in my life. One is learning how and when to say no. What I've learned is you will have 1,000,001 friends when you say yes. But the moment that you say no is when you learn who's really in your corner and who's really not in your corner. Hey girl, yeah girl, I'll give you some money. Yeah, we can go out. Yeah, let's go out of town. Yeah, we can go to dinner. It's all good and dandy and you will have a plethora of friends when you say yes. But the moment you say no, I can't go because my money's not right. No, I can't go because I just don't feel like it. I'm going to stay in and I'm going to hang out with my man tonight. The first thing they're going to tell you is, you acting brand new. I feel like when you start to say no, you're really going to learn and you're going to understand the people that you have in your corner. We talked about this in the last episode. When I was in my younger 20s, I couldn't even count all the friends that I had on my hands. Now I can count. I got a solid 4. Maybe 5. And that's because I learned how to say no. My friends don't get offended and they don't take it personal if I can't make it out, if I'd rather hang out with my man, if I can't give them any money, if I'm not free to talk on the phone. My friends know when they call me and I can't answer, and if I'm calling them back 2-3 days later, it's nothing personal. It's just, it is what it is. Maybe I'm setting boundaries because I'm going through something at the moment and I just don't have the energy to hear what you have going on. But hey, I'll get back to you when I can. Learning how and when to say no will reveal who's really in your corner and who's really not. Boundary number 2, and this is a big one for me, and this is more for self. You have to reduce the criticism, the self-judgment, and stop treating yourself like shit. And also stop comparing yourself to others. The way that you talk to yourself is a reflection of the confidence that you have. And if you talk to yourself in a negative way, you're damaging your self-worth. If you feel like you're not good enough for something, you're not gonna do it. And you ultimately just keep putting yourself down. Over the weekend, I was in New York, and one of the biggest things I've been struggling with lately has been my acne. And I was wearing makeup all week and I had to go to a skincare event. And I ultimately couldn't wear makeup to this event because my face had just continued to be more irritated because I just irritated it with makeup. And I was telling my boyfriend, I said, man, I look like shit. I was telling him, and I ended up breaking down crying because my face was so puffy. It was so much acne all over it. It doesn't matter what I put on my face, like you could see it. On top of that, I had gained weight. I have stomach issues, so like my stomach gets super inflamed when I eat specific food. So I had like a big ass gut, and I was like, man, I'm really ugly. Like I look like shit. This ain't it, And he was telling me, he was like, yo, the way that you talk to yourself is ultimately going to challenge you, and it's ultimately going to set up how you feel about yourself. Skincare and acne, all of that is attributed to your mental health. You have to understand that all that is temporary. So still embrace yourself. Still say that you're beautiful. Say that you're worthy. Say that you're enough. The next boundary is more friendship based, but also can apply to relationships. You have to leave people behind who don't respect your boundaries. This could be in relationships and this can be in friendship. In relationships specifically, if you are one of those people where you just don't tolerate disrespect and you keep saying the same thing over and over and that person is violating your boundary, you ultimately have to let them go. The problem with the society is we're very short on friends and we're very short on relationships. So we kind of almost hold on to people knowing that they treat us like shit or they are disrespecting our boundaries and doing whatever the hell they want to do just to say that we have somebody around. There's so many women out here, and I am not trying to put y'all on the spot, but there's so many women out here that is dating below their potential or dating below their measure or dating outside of what they would usually date for the simple fact of they just want companionship. And I'm sorry to tell you this, but there's so much more to life than companionship. Don't date below your means because you just want somebody to be there or because you feel like you're 30 and you need to have kids and I'm gonna get with this guy. He has his stuff semi together. Or you're taking care of a man ultimately because you just want the companionship of somebody. You're literally disrespecting your boundaries. So leave people behind that are not respecting that. Same thing for your friendships. If you have a friend that's constantly not respecting your boundaries as far as the things in your interests and what you want to do and where you're headed in life, I'm sorry, you got to leave them behind. I left a 10-year friendship because of that. And I'm okay with that. You find new friends, you make new relationships, and all those are going to be a lot more healthier because they're people that have boundaries set in place just like you do. Boundary number 4 or 5, I don't know what we on at. You need to make time for what you want to make time for and make yourself available for what you want to make yourself available for. People will come down your neck. They will come down your neck if you're not free on their time. And they also make you feel bad about it. I don't know how many times in the past I've had instances where I might say I don't want to do something or I'm not free to go somewhere. And I might be posting on social media that I'm doing something else. Oh, I thought you wasn't free. I thought you were doing that. The thing about boundaries like this is if you have that type of friendship, just communicate with the other individual and let them know, hey, I don't want to go to this event because of X, Y, and Z. Or hey, I actually don't want to go out because I don't want to go to the club. Time is very, very valuable. So you ultimately want to make sure you're spending the time that you want to do it when you want to do it. This applies to family. A lot of the time, my family requires a lot of my time, or they want to hang out, or they want to go out of town. And sometimes, A, I don't have the mental capacity to do it, and B, sometimes I just don't want to. And though they might feel sad and they might feel like, oh, okay, you got something better to do. You want to hang out with your man. You want to do this. I don't give people an explanation. It is what it is. And a boundary that you have to set for yourself is you don't have to give people a why or a reason why you don't want to do something. This is why I don't want to do it. And if you're somebody that wants to be in my life, and if you're somebody that wants to spend time with me, if someone that respects me, then you'll respect my decision on that. And boundary number 5, I take this one a little personal too. I feel like you have to give people a limit on how much access they have to you because people love being in your business. My last relationship, I was very public on TikTok with that relationship. I was actually very public with my last 2 relationships. So it was almost kind of like everyone followed my journey. They saw me heal, they saw me move. They saw me get into this new relationship where I was happy and I was traveling, and then it all went crashing down when that relationship ended. When the relationship ended this time, I didn't announce it. One, because the story was very embarrassing and I didn't want anybody in my business about it. But what I found out was my fans was not having that. My fans were not having that. I was getting harassed on TikTok Live. I was getting harassed on my stories about like, so what happened to your ex? Like, why y'all not together no more? Did he cheat? I knew he did this. And it was almost to the point where people were almost putting my business out for me because they kind of knew what happened and I had to turn my comments off. So this time around, as I'm in a new relationship and I'm very happy, I've learned that privacy is a lot more healthier than being public. And there'll be an episode where I kind of go into that a little bit deeper, but I've just limit the access that I have to people. Yes, I work in social media, and yes, I'm an influencer, and yes, I put a lot of my personal life out there, but I choose to put what I want to put out there that I feel like is valuable by still setting boundaries as far as what I want to put out for myself. My relationship, I want to keep to myself. I'm not in a relationship with social media. I'm in a relationship with who I'm in a relationship with. And when I feel comfortable enough to put that out there, I will. But the access that I give to social media now and to people in general, I'm very careful. And same thing with people in real life. I don't like people in my business. My business is my business, and who I let in on my business are people that I trust, are people that respect the boundaries that are put in place. So as you think about your life and as you think about navigating relationships and even work, think about that. Think about the access that you want to give to people in real life and also on social media. As we close this episode out, boundaries are an essential form of self-care. They're not for anybody else but yourself. Don't feel guilty or feel like you have to do something because society tells you that you have to do something. It's not hard to set boundaries, but stand on your shit. And remember, you don't owe nobody nothing. Like, limit the access that you have to people. Don't be so hard on yourself, and know when to say no. And that's it. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to another episode of Dear Women, I Got Y'all. Keep shining, keep being beautiful, and dear women, remember, I got y'all. Hey y'all, what's up? It's Jazmin with Dear Women, I Got Y'all, and thanks for watching. Check out our other shows, Women of Tomorrow and Hidden Hands.